Have you ever felt like you don't have enough time to get everything done that's on your to-do list? Well, chances are that is the case for you, and it's the case for a lot of people. We're busy people. There's a lot of things going on in our lives. In this video, I'm going to be sharing the ABC prioritization method of how you can prioritize different actions to take that will help you achieve more of what's important to you. In my last video, I shared this Wheel of Life assessment tool. We drew a circle, drew a line through it, crossed an X through it, and then put 6 different stages or areas of your business: family, finance, career, social, spiritual, and physical. We assessed 1 being in the middle, 10 on the outside, to assess where you are in each of those stages. Now, that's great. That's the first thing you've got to do. You've got to identify where you're at now. And then next, you want to identify where you can improve. So for some that you scored low on, maybe a 3 or below 5, you might want to prioritize putting some attention on those first. And what we're going to do in this exercise, we're going to first think of ideation. Ideation is a word talking about how you're going to think of different ideas. Far too often we can just think of the first thing that comes to mind and we just, let's do that, the first thing that came to mind. But it's not always the best thing to do. Maybe it's not always the most impactful thing. Maybe it's not the first place to, or the best place to start. It's just the first thing that popped in our mind. And there's not a problem with ideating and thinking of ideas, but we want to prioritize them. So I'm going to erase this. We're done with that now. And I'm going to take one area, and you'd want to do this for each area. This does take a little bit of time to do, but it's important. It's your life after all, right? So you would want to ideate, what are some things that you can do to improve in that one area? And there's no wrong answers. This is ideation. You're just brainstorming, right? It's another word for brainstorming, ideation. Ideate. And so you may think, all right, with my family or / home, what are some things I could do to improve in that area of my life? You might say, hey, what if we had more meals at the table? What if we had time to go on vacation together? Maybe spell vacation correctly. What about if we spent time talking, discussing? Apparently I can't write and speak on camera at the same time. So you'd brainstorm a list of different ideas, wrong way, different ideas that you can prove in that area. And then you'll have a list of, I suggest, coming up with a list of 10 ideas, a minimum of 10 ideas for each stage. That does take a little bit of time, but it's worth it. Again, it is your life after all. So then you've got to think, all right, well, if you try to do too many things at the same time, that's how most people tend to fail. We try to do too many things at the same time. We only have so much focus, and so we need to really get specific on the things that are most important and do those first. Check those off, and then move to the next thing. So the ABCs, A, this is absolute. These are the things that you absolutely want to do. They're the most important. You've got to get them done. And then there's things that you better do, right? You better do these. They're kind of important, but they're not absolute. And then C, the things you could do. So you see the ABCs? Absolute, better, could. And when I'm doing task management with business, I have 2 others. I'll give you these bonus. D is delegate. Maybe someone else can do that, right? And then E, eliminate. Right, so if you're working on tasks, your to-do list, you can also use this ABCD to define what's absolute, better, could, delegate, and then maybe there's things that don't actually need to get done, and you could eliminate them from your list completely. So you'd rate each of these ideas Okay. A, B, and C. Things that are absolutely that you really, really want to make sure that you do it. Things that you better do. It's probably important, but it's not as important as your absolute. And then C, things you could do. Now that you've got your list in ABC, you would then prioritize them with 1, 2, 3. Right? So I have 3 A's, and I would decide which ones I would do in which order. Then do the same with the B's. 1, 2, and finally the same with the C's. Supposed to be a 2. Okay, so now a list of 10 is prioritized based on which ones you absolutely want to do that would have the most impact on that area of the wheel of life. And then you'd start with first things first, starting with creating the goal of completing the thing that is most important, that would have the most impact on that stage. So then you'd repeat the process for each different stage in the wheel of life. Okay, and that will give you a list of 6 different things to focus on in the different areas of your life. Now, again, you might be tempted to say, oh, I want to do all of this, right? You can't do everything at once, right? So you've got to focus on doing one thing at a time that's going to be the most important. Do that first, then move to the next. All right, so in my next video, I'm going to go over how to take this 6, and put it into a plan of action that you can actually track and make sure that you're achieving it, so you're getting the results that you want. If you have any ideas that would be helpful, things that have worked for you, I'd love to see that in the comments, and appreciate any likes or shares of this content. If you appreciate helpful tips on efficiency and personal development, subscribe to my channel on YouTube. It's going to be something I'm committing to, as I've got a whole library of books, of some really awesome content, and I'm going to be sharing those pieces of content, some of the best stuff that I've aggregated through my personal development journey, so that you can gain and appreciate them too. So thank you for your support, and I'll catch you on the next episode. If I can click the end button, and it sticks on my screen.